What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. And break down what's happening with the economic calendar moving forward, what's going on with earnings that just came out, and how the charts are looking in my personal opinion. Before I begin these levels information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am personally not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, deposit $100, you are guaranteed 7 free stocks, and offerings in just a couple of weeks. Anyways, for Tesla, as you guys can see, we have a nice inverse head and shoulders like structure that has played out. We're seeing a very, very nice cup that is forming right here, and there's more upside potential developing on Tesla. So I do see potential in this to push higher, and I think that the overall market is playing a very, very similar role and why this is happening. But I first want to talk about some news and data before I break down more details about these charts and why the charts still look more bullish. But first, let's talk about this. Tomorrow is Tuesday, May 7th, 2024. At 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have the Economic Optimism Index report coming out. This is going to be very important. It's going to help us understand how sentiment is looking. And then we also have the Fed Treasury purchases, which is very minor. One thing that could affect the market in either direction is Cash Kari, who's giving a speech. So Cash Kari is known for being a little bit more hawkish. He's one of the most hawkish Fed speakers. And what he says could affect us. So we'll see what happens at 11:30 a.m. But the rest of the data is very minor. We just have some bill auctions coming out and note auctions at 11:30 and 1 p.m. And besides that, everything else is very, very minor. But I just want to make it very clear that all of this is minor. We don't have to worry too much about most of the data causing anything too crazy. I am a little bit more open-minded about what Cash Kari could cause because he does tend to be more hawkish. But besides that, everything else is just minor and the market can still continue to do its thing. For tomorrow, it's going to be Tuesday. Don't forget, in the morning session, we have Walt Disney announcing its earnings alongside Celsius. And then after the market closes, we have Rivian, Upstart, Lyft, and just a couple of others. So that's going to be for tomorrow. For today, the market just closed and we just got Palantir and Lucid announcing their earnings. For Palantir, shares are currently down about 7%. That's because of the fact that we didn't necessarily get the best of guidances from them. Their EPS was $8. I'm sorry, 8 cents. That is once again aligned with expectations, but their revenue is at about 634 million. That's above expectations. Despite that, when it comes to their overall full year guidance, you guys can see it wasn't as strong as what we were basically expecting. So for the second quarter, they're expecting 649 million to 653 million revenue versus 653 million expected previously, and their full year guidance is actually a little bit below expectations, which is just not the best of situations. So for the full year, we're looking at 2.68 to 2.69 billion dollars. We were expecting 2.71 billion. So with weak guidance, despite the fact that earnings were decent, the share price is still down 8%, sadly. For Lucid, it's also down quite a bit because they did see the Q1 loss not necessarily being that great. Let me explain. So revenue is once again topping expectations at $172.7 million. It's up about 16% compared to the previous year, but their loss per share was about 30 cents. That's worse than what we were looking at 25 cents with all of the adjustments made. So it's not the best of news right over here. And with that coming out, their profitability was not as great. They did mention that the Gravity SUV is coming up, but that's going to be later in 2024, sadly. Not the best of things so far. So with that coming out, and with their best SUV coming out later, that is confirmed, which is good news, but their loss when it comes to their Q1 earnings was enough to cause the share price to dip. For the Fear and Greed Index, this is currently at fear, getting closer to neutral. Market momentum is still greedy as we're starting to see buyers stepping in. We're also seeing some shifts over here as the puts and call option positioning is still neutral. We'll see if this continues to drop or not, but it's still neutral. And market volatility is still kind of stuck right here at this 14.86, 13.5 area. Excuse me, guys, it's down there. If the VIX drops lower, this would be bullish for the markets. There's a gap to fill below. So we'll see if anything shifts, and then we'll just be open-minded nonetheless. Besides that, Elon Musk reveals that Tesla has the software locked cheapest Model Y. It's offering 40 to 60 more miles of range. It's very, very interesting. So that's going to be very interesting with this potentially coming out. Over the years, Tesla has offered cheaper vehicles with shorter ranges, and they're going to be once again taking on a new strategy as they reveal the software locked Model Y new standard RWD. And it's going to be offering an additional 40 to 60 miles for about $1,500 to $2,000. On top of this, once again, with the new range that's coming out, this could go as far as 320 miles, which is going to be a big improvement. And that's going to be very, very useful for people out there. So to unlock the rest of the battery packs for an additional amount of money, that could be more useful for revenue. But this is very contentious with the way that Tesla's going about this, according to some analysts. But overall, I think that this should be quite useful, and this could be very beneficial for Tesla nonetheless. Lastly, we just have two more things before I break down what's going on with Tesla's overall numbers. So we have Cantor Fitzgerald giving them an overweight rating. Some good news came out as they have a very bullish price target. Price risk ratio is also going up a bit as Tesla's gaining some strength. We tend to see more volatility at about 51.54%. And that's the amount of times we're actually green. So 51% is how often we're green on Tuesdays. But we also have a tendency of seeing more volatility at 10 a.m. and also at 2 p.m. and then during the final hour of the day. And that's all I'm seeing for now. So especially 10 a.m., look for some volatility during the first hour for Tesla. Volume is currently at about 84 million, a little bit below average, so not the strongest of volumes, but it's still holding up quite nicely. And the short volume is currently at about 59 to 60%. So that's actually very important. So for Tesla, I just wanted to make it very, very clear that Tesla is once again forming a nice cup-like structure, nice inverse head and shoulders, and there is upside potential. We have 186 as resistance and 188, and if we break this, our next target is going to be all the way up to about 190. Our support is currently at about 182 a share, followed by the 180 area at our 20 EMA. My opinion for tomorrow, I think that there's more upside potential ultimately for Tesla. Could we come down right over here and retest 183.5 and then bounce? Yes, we can. But I see Tesla essentially pushing all the way up to 186 and eventually 188. I think there's a very good chance it's going to be pushing higher. So look for a little drop to grab liquidity, and then we're going to be looking for a push all the way up towards 186. And it really depends if this develops into like a cup and handle. Do we see like a cup and an attempt to go up to 186 and a handle forming before it goes higher, or do we just break out from here? Either way, it ultimately should be approaching 188 or higher, whether it takes a day or even a few days. I do see more upside potential for Tesla as the share price is holding up very, very well. For SPY, we're looking more bullish in my personal opinion. Got a nice breakout right here. If we're bearish, watch 515 and then 512.66. For resistance, watch 516.5. If we break this, look for 518.5, then 520. I favor this going up to at least 518.5 as we're looking very strong. We're getting nice bullish momentum. And 518.5 is most likely coming tomorrow, in my opinion, if not 520. For the QQQ, I'm seeing something else very interesting developing. We have broken above 439 a share, looking more bullish right now. And now we're at resistance at 440. Breaking this opens up 441, then 442.5. I favor the upside. I think it's very probable we're going to get that. So look for more potential upside coming. For Nvidia, we're going to likely push all the way up to about $930 a share. So there's more upside likely coming. I think that this could easily go higher from here. So it's going to be just fine as we have this imbalance to fill. Could we dip a little bit right here to retest this previous resistance becoming support? It's possible it dips a little bit more. It's close to like 908 and bounces during the pre-market, but I still think it could go much higher as we're still seeing buyers stepping in. For Apple stock, Apple's kind of flat right now. We have a nice range that's kind of developing. Let me just zoom in just to show you what this looks like. This is what the price action looks like. We can see it kind of came down and rebounded. So look for another retest of 182.5, then a bounce and a push for 184.25, and some sideways price action, at least for the time being. On top of all of this, let's talk about some more details about other charts out there. So Palantir, for example, we have resistance at 26.2, and we have support currently at about 23.17, followed by 22.6. Now, I think we could dip a little bit towards that support before we try to rebound, but overall, I would say that Palantir is still, once again, dipping a little bit, and there should be a test of 22 likely coming. For Supermicro, in my opinion, is at basically approaching the 850 area. We have a nice double bottom like structure, and it is possible that it hits at least 850. And we'll see if this breaks or not. If we break this, we could easily start launching to 900 plus. If not, it is what it is. But I think that we should be looking for a test of 850 very soon. For Rivian, we have earnings coming up very soon, but for now, I do see some more upside potential. I think we could go all the way up towards, it depends if you could break this resistance right here at this 10.35 area, break that, we could be going all the way up to about 10.6 approaching earnings, and we'll see what happens after that. But I see some more upside potential on the chart. Now, what's interesting, guys, is the market does have a tendency of moving in unison if you're not looking at like the inverse ETFs. If we're just looking at things that have positive betas with the market. Basically, most stocks are agreeing together. That's the reason why I'm like constantly saying like this stock is looking bullish, this one too, this one too. That's how the market tends to move, at least a lot of the time. Not always, but just oftentimes. So with the 50 EMA being tested at 7.18, look for a break of that and a push for 7.3. That's where the previous support becomes resistance. And if we lose 7.07, we could be dipping back down. I do favor that this is going to go higher, and I think that this could start pushing higher as well. For the IWM Russell 2000, I think that there is a chance that this is going to go higher as well. If we break past 205, I think that this is going to easily start pushing up to 207. We also have this support to be watching for. I don't favor it coming down to that all the way down there. I think it could retest like 204 first before it starts breaking out, but I do see more upside potential in the IWM. Looks bullish to me. For AMD, we're looking bullish as well. I think that's going to be retesting its 50 EMA, so 154. If we get a nice balance, this imbalance could fill all the way up to 158. So I do see that as a strong possibility on AMD. For ARM is looking a bit more bullish as well, as we're once again holding it very, very well. I think that we could be approaching this resistance right here at this 110 area. It's very close to our 200 EMA. So I think 110 around that area is very possible to be reached, and we could be approaching that as time goes on. For Coinbase, I think coin can actually dip a little bit towards 220, then rebound a bit. So we'll see how things go. And we're kind of trading sideways within a range, but look for a little dip and then a rebound for now. For Amazon, we're looking a bit more bullish. I think that we could be pushing up higher towards this 190 area. Could we dip a little bit? It's possible, but I do think 190 is coming. So I do favor upside on Amazon. For Meta, in my personal opinion, is looking bullish. I think that 472 is a strong possibility. So I think that, yes, we could push higher, and there's a very good chance that that is going to likely be the case. For Microsoft, I think that we have this imbalance to fill all the way up here at 416. I think there's a very good chance we're going to be pushing higher and we could fill this imbalance. So that could once again end up being the case. And I think that there is upside potential in Microsoft. For Google also has upside potential. I think I wouldn't be surprised if we go all the way up to about 170 and eventually all the way up to about 172. So we'll be watching to see if that ends up being the case. For the VIX, as you guys can see, this has not approached 12.5 yet. It's looking bearish as it's dropping. It hasn't fully filled this gap. So the VIX is still slowing down. It's still dropping slowly. It's still approaching key support. This means that the VIX has more downside potential and the market has more upside potential. There's no sign that the VIX has bottomed yet. And that basically tells us that there's no sign that the market is topped yet. So SPY, the market could still go higher. The VIX could still go lower. There's no sign of anything shifting yet. The 10-year treasury yield is looking a little bit more bearish. I could see this actually dip down towards 4.45 around that area. A little bit more downside. I find that very probable, and that could actually help the market push higher. And finally, the dollar is going to likely test the 200 EMA at 105.19. Might test this, then reject, and that could actually help the markets. We'll see if it rejects or not, but so far things do favor the upside. So with the collective market trying to push, so long as there's no bad news for Tesla tomorrow, we should see more upside. Could grab liquidity first before it tries to go up to about the 186 area and 188. But watch to see if Tesla could do that, and I think that so far the technicals look pretty good. With that being said, I want to thank you all so much for listening. I hope you guys have an absolutely incredible rest of the day. Remain calm, cool, and collected. I'll see you guys very soon on the next one. Thank you for listening. Tesla's to the moon because the long term is still incredibly bright, despite what you see on the media, despite what anyone tries to say. And peace out.